My guest today is Igor Mascarenhas. He is a small business owner from Brazil, and his story is incredible. I have the privilege of speaking with him today. Igor, welcome on.
Thank you.
Great to have you. This
Great to
is,
have to be here.
it's a privilege. So, tell me a little bit about, from Brazil. So, tell me a little bit about like what your life was like growing up in Brazil. Where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from middle class in a small town in Brazil. I grew up going to the farm. My dad is a cacao farmer. Um, Very small town. It's just cacao farmers all over the town. And um, I stay on that town, grew up, did all the way to high school and graduated from high school. And then when I left that town to go to Salvador, it's Salvador, Bahia. That's the capital of the state. As a matter of fact, was the first capital of Brazil. I went to college. I went to do a physical therapy course, and that's where I stay all the way till I leave Brazil. I lived in that city for like 10 years after I graduate from.
And so you got your physical therapy.
Yeah. So I went there to do the course and to study physical therapy. So I decided I didn't want to go back to the small town because there was nothing for me there.
Right. The cacao farming. Was there an expectation for you to take over the farm from your dad?
My dad always liked us to he still have all the three farms that in that little town, and my brother lives there. But there was never expectations. Okay, you gonna come back here and run the farm.
Okay.
It was more like it was like his retirement, basically. He was starting to build his retirement. He also worked for the government, providing training for all the and support for the agriculture of the area.
Okay.
And in that sense, he started building up his farm, like buying land and plant more cacao trees. As a matter of fact, I helped him planting trees of cacao, and when I was young, I would go to the farm, spend the whole day with him, and I would go and plant the trees and build up the farm from land that was nothing in there. So today he's retired. And he is his occupation is what he likes to do. He doesn't go to work anymore for 9 to 5. He has to occupy his mind. So he goes to the farm, he spends there, he has people that works in the farm, and he goes provide the training to everyone that are managing the farm, and he enjoys the way of life.
Man.
That is a farming life.
Man, it's a beautiful, the purity, the simplicity, and the purity of like the farming life is.
Yeah, it's amazing. I loved growing up in a small town because it gave me freedom to do whatever I want. I would go to the farm by bike with my cousin and other friends, and then we'd go swim on the river and then come back to the small town. Grew up riding horses and just playing with dirt and all the things that kids that grow up in the countryside. You are from the countryside, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So it was amazing. And then all the way to I was like, hey, I'm a teenager at this point, almost like close to my 20s, and the town started getting too small. So okay, I was excited now to leave the town and go experiment and learn new things. That's when we got to Salvador and I started doing college.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you graduate, you're living in the city for 10 years, you get your physical therapy.
Yeah.
What was was it a doctorate? What was the?
So basically I did the whole program, the physical therapist. During that program, I started getting into research, and I get involved with a mentor that was a specialist in respiratory therapy.
Yep.
She was manager of in one of the hospitals. She's a manager on one of the ICU hospitals at the time, and I got involved with her, so I decided to go and do the specialization on the same of the same subject. I started doing. She was doing at the time her postdoctorate, and I joined the research, and also I started doing my specialization behind before I graduate, so I could be a little bit ahead of it. So when I graduate, I was already just like 1 year shy to become a specialist.
Yep.
So, and then I started working right away. I was able to graduate and get a job and secure a job. As a fact, I had to graduate before because I had a job waiting for me already.
Right.
So, so I did everything to be able to finish as early as possible. So to go to the field. In that sense, I started working in the hospital, and I started working as a preceptor too for the college. They used to send the students to the hospital. So I was kind of like not a professor, but I was a preceptor in physical therapy, ICU physical therapy in the hospital. Very, very exciting. So I worked for 5 years in that same hospital. And then I worked in another hospital too. At that point, I was working in 2 hospitals, so I had crazy hours.
Yep.
I was kind of like a workaholic.
Yeah.
But I love traveling too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And in that sense, I was like, okay, I need to make a little bit of time. So I got a little bit burned off because of my hours were like really crazy.
Yeah. Burnout's inevitable.
Yeah, burnout
of
sure.
Like
working. So I decided to take one year off.
Okay.
So I went to my boss, like, look, can you give me 1 year and I'll come back to have my job? Like, if you can find someone to stay on your place and they know the conditions that they're gonna get out after you come back, I'll give you the license. And then you sign off papers, and then I apply for, like, okay, let's go somewhere. Where? Have some friends living in Australia. They say, hey, come here. I was like, okay, I want to learn English, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Head to Australia. My plan was to stay 6 months in Australia.
Okay.
Ended up staying 3 years there.
3? Oh, wow. What were you doing in Australia?
So I started doing, the first 6 months was learning English. I didn't know how to.
Okay. Like going to a school? Like, is
I
it
went to-
online?
It was going to school. They have the programs there for international students. So in Australia, you can basically, if you have a student visa, you can legally work too.
Okay.
So I would go in the morning, have my classes, finish around 2.
How was it learning English? Like, what were the classes like? Is it like phonics? Are you going through like the alphabet? Like, what are they?
No, they have basically, the teacher is always speaking English, of course.
Okay.
And they have students from all over the place.
Yep.
Like, because Australia is very close to Korea.
Yep.
There was a lot of Koreans that would finish the military and they would go there.
Okay.
To study whatever they want to. If they already speak English, they would go to do all the courses there.
Right.
And for a lot of Brazilians would go there. A lot of South Americans in general, like Chileans and Argentinians, was in the same class.
Yep.
During this summer, a lot of Swedish would go to Australia to do the Cambridge course. There's a specialization in English.
Okay.
And that's basically what the school was like.
Oh, okay.
Like a lot of mingle of a lot of nationalities, and
I'm tracking.
and
That would be pretty exciting.
That was nice. That was great because like once you learn so much about the other cultures, and then you're trying to start communicate and making what words, and then use the Google Translate to like just trying to figure out how to communicate. It was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Very hard at the same time.
Right.
Your brain like kind of hurt at some point.
Oh yeah.
And so the first 3 months was pretty hard till you start getting sentence.
Okay.
Like you know how to use some sentence, but it's still like talking like a kid.
Right. What made you want to learn English?
I did my first trip to Europe to visit my sister that was living there. She was studying that too in Portugal.
Yep.
And that time I went for 20 days. We did like a Euro trip, and I was depending on her to speak for me. And I was like, I have to learn English. So I always wanted to leave and was planning to trying to save money so I could stay a little bit of time, like maybe 3 months or 4 months in somewhere else.
Okay.
To learn a new language.
And so what were you doing for work at this time? Because you said you go to class in the morning and then you were...
So you don't speak English, so you do whatever, the job comes. So at the time I was helping, I would help in construction when the jobs would come, and like, hey, I need help here, have a help there. But I found a job doing kitchen hand, or washing dishes and doing preppings and stuff in a small restaurant. That was at night.
Yep.
So that was when I started actually working on the restaurants, and I worked there for another 4 months till when I renewed my visa. I decided to stay in Australia. That's one of the things in Australia. I feel so safe. It was different from Brazil, because in Brazil, it's another difference from Brazil and here in US. Like, in Australia too. In Australia, I feel like I didn't need to walk on the street and look behind me to see what's coming. In Brazil, it's that mentality is always built into you. You always have to check your shoulders, always being aware. Yeah. So when I got there, I was like, oh, I don't need this anymore. So it's safe in here. Nobody's gonna come and assault me or rob me or do anything like that. So I felt like, okay, I wanna stay here longer. So, and then when I start planning how to stay in Australia for a little longer, then's when I decided to do a little bit more of English to get my English better, and I start studying massage because it was close enough to physical therapists. Like, you're still body, I had the muscle background, so I think it would help me to go through the course a little bit easier. And so that's what I planned to do, and then that's what I did. I finished the English course and start massaging school. At that point was when I met my wife.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's hear. How did that happen? You had hair back then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
not much. Was stuff falling already.
Yeah, and now she cuts hair.
Yeah,
and she did such a good job with you.
A fresh buzz today. A little bit of grooming. So I met Bethany on a reggae night.
Okay.
So there was this pub that was the only...
I could see you guys at a reggae night. Yeah.
Only one time a week that I would go out.
Thursday night?
Was Sunday night.
Sunday night, okay.
So was the only day, because I work all the other days, and Monday I would have a day off. So I would go to school, but I didn't need to go to work. So I would like, and it was early. It was like, would be done by 10.
Yep.
So I'd go out, and that's for the time that I would go see my friends from the town and have a beer and enjoy a little bit life. So that's when I met Bethany. Neither me or her was supposed to be on that place.
Okay.
That was funny.
Yeah.
And Bethany was passing by the town, and her friends, she would never go out. Her friends decide to, let's go out, and they drag her and the pub. I went to another party, and I didn't like the party in this house. The kind of music they were playing, I didn't like it. So I decided I'm gonna go to my reggae. I'm gonna just go see my other friends, and that's when I met Bethany.
Yeah.
She was leaving the next day to live in Melbourne.
Okay.
And she didn't like that, and she came back and then started dating.
At the she didn't like Melbourne, so she came back. So you guys met a reggae night, you hit it off, and she's like...
And we keep talking on WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, yeah.
And she came back, and then we started dating. Then when I start actually learning English, because it was like my sentence. And
Yeah, she's
imagine you dating someone and you want to express your feelings in a sense, like you want to express your frustrations, you want to express.
I'm thinking like Tarzan right now.
Yeah.
You're like.
And you like are making signs, and it's like, what is this word? And then you go and look at the Google Maps, and sometimes the translation doesn't express your feelings the way how you're supposed to. And you say the word like wrong, and you show, and then like it's this question was of relationship, like using Google Translate.
Oh my goodness.
Interesting. And then got better, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, but this was Australia was a good time. We lived there for 3 years.
Okay.
And then.
And that was when you got saved, right?
That was when I got saved.
Yeah.
The story behind it is I had a friend that he was a Christian. He is a Christian. And in Bethany, I was being Christian, and I wasn't. And that was one of the things that we had very hard the beginning, because I believed in God as like a general thing, but I didn't understand what was the salvation. I didn't understand the sacrifice that Christ did.
Yep.
And I was generalizing things, and my friend and Bethany, we had discussions, arguments about the fact of the Christian faith, and our friend invited us to go to church.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I said, okay, I'm going to church then. And at the time, it was kind of hard for me to follow a sermon.
Yep.
Because
they're speaking in English.
Was already very like.
And you're putting your phone up, Google Translate. You're like, what?
No, yeah, I didn't use the translate, but it was the following of the message was kind of like I would pick some stuff. Mm-hmm. But I like it. I like the people that were there. The people super kind to me. And there was this guy, his name was Brett too.
Great guy.
Yeah, he was a great guy. You look in his eye and he would look like a man of God.
Yeah.
And I kept showing up and understanding little by little. And then I was like, why am I not a Christian? I need to be baptized. And then
so you believed. You were like, this is the word of God. It's real. It's true. Yep.
Exactly. And then I decided to get baptized. So at the same time was when decision, okay, me and Bethany were like 1 year and a half. What direction are we moving here?
Oh yeah.
We're both from different countries. We have to make plans.
That had to be a tense conversation.
It was not super tense, but it was like in a sense of her parents always being firm, like, you should not marry a non-believer.
Okay, yeah, her parents were firm in that.
Yeah, very firm.
And so were you still washing dishes at this time? Or was
No, I stopped working in that restaurant like after 3 months. I started doing deliveries, like delivery app.
Okay.
It's the same way it has a bunch of delivery apps here.
Okay.
They start that in Australia too. I have a motorcycle, so it was way easy.
Hop on, babe. We're gonna deliver some food.
I had my schedule. Could stop and study to go to school and stuff like that. So, it completely changed my life. The delivery apps is the way how and then I started doing massages too. I started doing massages at home. I bought a table and then everyone that knew me and they knew that I had a background in physical therapy. Okay. And people from church that they would come to my house and I'd give a massage and I charge for them. And so getting back to the planning making thing, so we decided to, okay, let's go and meet each other's families so we see if we get along to our family. Yeah. Because I put in my mind I would never marry anyone that I didn't go along with the family, because family is very important for me. Yeah.
Get along with your family or vice versa?
Vice versa. If I bring home a girl that my mom doesn't like,
Yeah.
no go.
Later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still
Yeah. Mama
later.
knows. Yeah.
And I think for her was definitely very important too, for me to come home and meet her parents and see,
Yeah.
for her parents to be able to see who I was.
Okay. So you go home. You guys go to Brazil
We
first?
come here first.
Wow.
Um,
Northern California.
yeah, we
Yeah.
came,
Let's
flew
go.
to LA,
NorCal.
and then drove to did a little road trip to see California.
PCH. Yeah. Yeah. They got to do
She
it.
was like, at this point, I didn't want to live here.
Yep.
I loved Australia. I didn't
Yeah.
want to move out of
Yep.
Australia. And she wanted like to show me
Oh yeah.
the best of California.
Oh, she was working on you. Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
was like LA, and then we went Santa Barbara, went Santa Cruz, and her parents took me to Tahoe.
Okay.
So was very nice, and I loved her family. I was like, oh, this family is super nice.
Yeah.
Her dad was super loving. It is a super loving guy, but at the same time, very firm what he believes.
Yep.
And I was like, I need to talk to you guys.
Yep.
Talk to her mom and her dad.
Oh yeah.
But you're not nervous to talk to my dad? I was like, I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I cannot say anything wrong.
Yeah.
But I was not like intimidated by his dad. But at the same time, I was like, because of the language barrier.
Yep.
What can I avoid to say that could be misinterpreted?
Right.
In that sense. But it was awesome. They understood my how I was when I was in Brazil, in a sense, like in my path. At the time, I was going to church already. I didn't have that voice. Like, I'm a Christian yet.
Yeah. Truly.
I was still going through the process, and I told them, I explained to them, like, I'm going to church. I don't know. I didn't want to like give them like I'm gonna become a Christian, but I was like, I'm going to church. I understand what's going on a little bit.
Yeah.
I grew up. My grandma was a Christian, so I grew up going to church. But at the time, I didn't understand any of these things.
Yeah. What did her parents say?
My parents.
Her parents.
Her parents. They were firm. They were like, look, I don't believe that it's for they state like his dad is her dad's statement was basically, I don't care if you're rich or if you're poor.
Yep.
What's the most important part for me is the faith.
Yep.
Because you're gonna be the head holder of the family.
Yep.
And I want my wife to be taken care of. Like her faith has to be ensured.
Yep.
And when you guys have kids, you gotta be the head of the family. You're gonna teach your kids how to be faithful to the Lord. So basically,
that's
I'm
a heavy conversation.
I'm resuming, but
Yeah.
basically they were very loving and kind in the way
Yeah.
how they expressed that.
They're firm. That's great. Yeah.
But was
what a
very
man.
fun. Was
Wow.
like, this is what I believe. That's what we believe.
To say that for your daughter's future suitor, husband, that's like respect.
Yeah. They expressed to me they also didn't grow up Christians, but it's a powerful transformation, and it's very important for you. You don't want to be, especially what we believe that salvation is and how we're gonna be saved. Not through good acts but by the faith itself on the crucifixion. And I think that was the thing that he wanted me to understand.
Yeah.
And pass to my children and raise his grandkids to be faithful, so they could be saved.
Grandkids, that's right. Yeah. Hey, congratulations, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Super excited to.
Yeah. So anyway, so you meet her parents, and they're like, okay, firm, like you need to be a Christian to marry our daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I left Brazil with that in my mind.
Yeah.
And the whole time that I was visiting my family, there was like, I love that family. They're Christians. I saw how they communicate. I see how he treats his kids and his wife.
Yep.
So all that was like a reflection of, I want to be a man like him too.
Yeah.
You know, I want a man that provides for his family. I want to be a man that have the faith in the Lord. And that came to...
Yeah. That essence of it.
Yeah, that essence was boiling on my head and like creating steam. And that it filled me up. And it was when I got back to Australia from our vacation, Bethany went to the trip, met my parents. My parents love her. But since she doesn't speak Portuguese, my parents doesn't speak English. So the communication was between me.
Google Translate.
I was the translator and Google Translator, but she loved the app. She loved my parents. My parents really liked that. And I was like, hey, I want to marry this girl because now I love her family.
Yep.
And so we started planning.
Yep.
And on this planning of marrying and having kids and stay both away from our family,
yep,
Australia was no longer the most important thing for me.
Right.
I really wanted bad to stay there because I loved the waves and the lifestyle. I love that, but also I was like, oh, California is not that bad. It's very similar to here.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I think I want to live there in the US then. So we start making decisions about how to come here, how I can
San Diego.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, how to come into US in general.
Yep. Okay.
What's the process?
Yeah. So how was it? I mean, there's a lot of. So fast forward, you have these conversations with her parents. You guys go, and so Igor, farm boy, growing up, cacao farms, and you go, you get your physical therapy, right? You get your degree from the college in Brazil. You go to Australia. You're like, I'm gonna learn English. You're walking around with your phone, and then you go and you meet this wonderful girl, and then you're like, I need to get baptized. Like, this is God's real, and He died on the cross for my sins. So then you go to America. You go back to Brazil. And then you're like, all right, we're moving to the U.S. Right now, the culture and the time that we're in, there's a lot about immigration, whether it's illegal or what we should do and all this other stuff. However, so you immigrated from Brazil. So how was that?
So it was a very long process.
Yep.
Luckily, we started the process when we were still in Australia. I still had 1 year in Australia of a visa.
Okay.
So we applied, we got married.
Where'd you get married in Australia?
I got married in Australia. I got married and baptized on the same day. Got baptized in the morning.
Wow.
And got married in the afternoon.
Wow, what an incredible day.
Like sunset.
Oh my gosh.
And on the beach, both on the beach.
Yeah.
It's basically my playground. So I love being close to the ocean. And then we decided to apply. Okay, let's apply for. So the process will run. We will still have 1 year.
And it's not a short process, right?
No, because you apply, and then there is a queue that's gonna. It's about like could be 4 months, it could be 15 months.
Yep.
For them to call you, and then you start the process. So luckily, we are going through the process of getting into the visa and waiting in Australia. We applied. Now it's just wait so they can call us, and then we start showing the documents. In that process, it took us about 9 months.
Okay.
That's when we decided, it's like, are we renewing our visa in Australia and stay here so we can work? Or we're gonna go to Brazil, or we're gonna go to US. I cannot work in US because when you're on the process, you cannot legally work.
Right.
And that's when, at the end of it, like 3 months by the end of, like almost close to the visa, we had a sermon that was Faith. Was the name of the sermon was Faith 4.
Faith 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go through that sermon, and it was after the sermon, it was like, okay, I think that's the answer that we've been praying. If we have faith that the Lord is gonna provide us
Yep.
the documents and then gonna provide the process.
Wow.
Let's go. Let's not do the visa. Let's move.
Yep.
And so we decided to not renew the visa and come. So I had a tourist visa to US.
Okay.
So I decided to come here and stay for 2 months.
Yep.
And then head back to Brazil.
Yep.
We have some savings at the time. It's like, okay, Brazil is is cheap living.
Yep.
My parents, they have a beach house.
Yep.
That was empty. And so we would have a place to stay.
Yep.
And not have to live with my parents.
Right.
So that's what we did. We came here, we stayed for 2 months, and we went to Brazil, and we lived there for 6. The process, then, so that's the awesome thing that I'm gonna tell. We had that faith for, right?
Yep.
The first day we landed in US, boom, we received an email. We landed in US
Yep.
on December 20, I think.
Yep.
Received an email from the immigration.
Wow.
We're gonna start
Amen.
processing your visa.
Yep.
And boom, okay, let's organizing documents and go to Brazil. We would go to Brazil to live there. During this time in Brazil, the 6 months, we bought 1 ticket to go for me, and we bought 1 ticket to return to Bethany. In May, it's like, if we don't have the visa till May or end of May, you come back, you can start working. I'll stay there, I'll live with my parents, I'll work a little bit there. And at that time, it was gonna be like a close and off, so I would have time and get the visa. And like, the estimate time to get a granted visa of the process was from 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
So that's when we went there, and it was like, okay, this is just faith. We're gonna spend our savings and come here.
Yep.
And live in Brazil for 6 months. We stay there. The whole process, when 1 week before Bethany's flight, they called me for the interview.
Oh wow, awesome.
So at the point now,
were you stressing? You had to be like,
oh, we were like, oh my gosh, it's like,
yeah,
this is insane. It's like the process coming, the dates are coming for Bethany to come back. We're gonna stay that long apart. At this point, we had never been apart we never had like a night apart from each other.
Yeah.
And was the week before the flights, and
Man.
they call for the interview. Okay, cool. Now we know that's gonna stay only 1 month apart from each other. So
Okay. Yeah.
she came to us, and then that's when she started organizing here, come to San Diego and find a place for us to live. And that was my time of processing there, the interviews, receiving the green card, and stay a little bit more with my family and come back and move to US.
Wow. That's a story, man.
Yeah.
A lot of faith. That is.
Yeah, there
Goodness.
was pure faith on the Lord that
Holy
He
smokes.
was gonna provide, but at the same time was nerve-wracking.
Yeah. That is. Wow. That's. So you guys meet in Australia, you come to the U.S., and you hear the sermon Faith 4, and then you go. The day you land in the U.S., you get an email from immigration. So you're like, the process starts. And then you go, you're in the U.S. for 2 months, and then you go to Brazil, you're there for 6 months, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Lord, are you here? Like, what's going on? And then you get 1 week before Bethany's flight, then you get the call, and then you do your immigration, and then it's just like, and then it's all
Okay, let's find work here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's
first time I arrived here. I was like, okay.
So working. So when you're right. You're going to be a physical therapist, or you can like go to school and do that, right?
So that's one thing. When we are in Brazil, we're researching like how to transfer the physical therapy process over to US, and the process is almost impossible to do.
Yep. Oh, as far as getting your.
Yeah, it's basically.
How come?
You have to do a third-party company.
Okay.
To evaluate your degree, like everything, all your paperwork.
And why do they make it so hard? Because if you got a degree in America, quality control, okay.
Yeah, and now also a lot of people fake documents. So
Okay.
you're not supposed even to touch the documents. They're gonna come to this company.
Okay.
You go, you request on your school, and then they're gonna send over to the company.
And then they just don't do it.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Wow.
I was begging. I was like there every day.
Oh my goodness.
For them to send the documents.
And so you're here. You're like, what the heck? Like I worked so hard for this degree and for everything, and then you're like, so Faith, you're like, you're like, what am I moved to this new country? Wow, a lot of ups and downs. This is like
and money spending too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. CDK was not cheap.
You have to pay for the third-party company to evaluate that.
Really?
And then you have to pay by states. So we want to be close to the ocean.
Yeah.
We both surf, so we decide to evaluate in Hawaii and California.
Okay.
And those are the two hardest states.
For sure. Yeah.
To do the evaluation.
Yeah.
So it's basically, okay, let's go, let's do it. And at the time, I was like, even knowing that in Brazil I was a physical therapist, but I never worked with rehab out of ICU. And here in US, there's a profession that's a different. Like in Brazil, I would be, if I had to compare what I would do here in US, here I would be a respiratory therapist.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a totally different course.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is not working. The company is not communicating well with me.
Yep.
And
how long were you trying this process?
I was for 1 year. We tried. We saw.
What'd you do for work in between?
Well, I was doing whatever. I started doing surf lessons.
Okay, yeah.
And then I started working at a coffee shop.
Yep.
And then I started working for Amazon.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I just gonna go back to college and do everything over.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my point.
Yeah.
And
you're a very thorough guy. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I have to make money. I have kids. At the time we here, and I was like, I wanna have kids.
Yeah.
And I cannot have kids.
Being a barista or working for Amazon.
Bethany stayed for me, and I think that was one of the things that made me wanna to marry her. Is because since we were dating, she stayed to me. I wanna be able to raise my kids. I don't wanna work.
Yeah,
and
amen.
raise my kids.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay, I have to make money to be able to, so Bethany could stay home. And
most important job there is.
Exactly.
Stay-at-home mom.
It's very time-consuming. Very.
Oh yeah. Takes everything.
Much effort,
everything
patience,
you got.
And it's like she's so drained at the end of the day because what it takes. And
so nothing's moving at this point. You're like,
at this point, nothing's moving. The school is not sending, like they send the paper,
right?
But what does the other company that does the evaluation, they see one thing instead, like see all the documents and send a list of those documents, so you can send to the school and require those documents. They're like, okay, we need you to send this, and then they would send that document. Oh, now we need that document.
Oh gosh.
So it's like, how you like talk to the principal.
And they're just bleeding you with money the whole time.
Exactly. It's not just money, but like you bugging people.
Yeah, the opportunity cost.
It's just like,
oh my gosh.
Someone that's already putting effort to send those documents. Then to stop what they are doing to prep that document, and it's just instead they doing it at once.
Right.
They asking to do little by little, and that process is like take forever because you wait for the school to reply for you 3 weeks later.
Oh yeah.
and then you send the answer, and then take 4 months for them to reply to say, oh, this is not the right document. You have to send this.
So Brazil, the school, the whatever in Brazil, they're dragging their feet essentially.
It's not just the school. The school was doing what they were asked to
Right.
as well.
Right.
But they're taking, they have priorities that too. It's not, they don't serve only to me, right? But the other company also is dragging their feet on the sense of they not giving all the information that was needed.
Got it.
So we're just, okay, I'm gonna do all over. I'm gonna go back to college, and I'm gonna do the
So did you do it?
respiratory therapy.
Did you go back to college?
No, because I started working with this company, with this guy doing
Okay.
rain gutter cleaning.
Rain gutters, yeah, baby.
And I liked it. I liked being outside.
Yeah.
I like being on the roof and doing
great.
things. And I was like, okay, I can make money on this. If he's
sure.
paying me this much,
Yeah.
that means if I'm running the company,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make 5 times more what I'm receiving now.
For sure. So you had the opportunity. So
I
you
had opportunity,
transitioned.
gonna learn. And my first plan was like stay with him and go through college working for him.
What's your company name?
My company name is Freshwater Exteriors.
Freshwater Exteriors. Okay, so you're gonna be So you're gonna be working with this guy, and then
So that was working with that guy, learn everything that I could learn, and I decided.
you had an opportunity to start your own
like
company.
when me and Bethany we decided to have kids.
Yep.
It's like, oh, we've been waiting long enough. Let's
do it.
Let's
Go
do
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not getting any younger here.
Yeah, that's right.
So we decided it was really hard because I never run a business before.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, being a business owner is so hard.
Yeah.
It is like
how to marketing, like how to bring clients, how they do the things are like the easiest part.
Yeah.
There is no secret in cleaning gutters. You have to climb a ladder very safely, so you don't fall. You have to walk very careful on the roof so you don't break the client's tiles. You clean, do the job well. You take photos before and after. Make sure everything's clean. Clean after. Show up on time. Good. You're good. However, how to bring clients? And that was the hardest part.
Oh yeah, I wrote that country song.
Oh yeah.
That's...
Start putting flyers on doors. Start trying to marketing companies, and then the job starts showing up little by little.
Yeah.
That's another interesting thing. Like the faith that we had. It was like, this is gonna work out.
Yeah, truly.
Bethany was pregnant, working full time, had a job, and I was starting a new company.
Oh my gosh.
And do whatever I could to also bring income to the house in other ends, like doing surf lessons, private surf lessons, working here, working there, providing any kind of work that could bring money to the house at the
doing
same
whatever it
time.
takes. What a man.
Exactly, to bring the other clients. And then September hits, and September is like basically people start getting ready for rainy season.
Yep.
So then the jobs starts showing up, and then my daughter was born at the end of September.
Sweet girl, yeah.
And Bethany now, it's okay. I have a job to maintain the house by myself at least for this time.
So you're like, all right, rain.
Okay, start raining, pour rain in San Diego, and I was very blessed because we had 2 or 3 years of rain, good rain.
We did,
winter. And then this year hits.
Yep. This year's, it's been a little...
These years didn't rain much. We saw all the fires happening. But I was ready. I had clients already. If I had started that business this year, it would be very rough.
Oh, yeah.
To land it.
Yeah, truly.
The window cleaning as well was good because I started doing window cleaning.
Right.
And usually during the winter, you have a low season. It's raining. People are not going to clean the windows.
Yep.
But this year we had no rain. People didn't clean as much the gutters, but they start cleaning the windows. So you have
nice.
A trade.
Get the dual ends.
Trade, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Talking with Chelsea's grandparents were cattle ranchers, and so they had the cattle, and then they also had crops, and so it's like I think there's a reason there's so many like parables in the Bible about farming and about like stewarding the land and like having animals, and we see all that throughout. But having those, I think it's really important having like the diversity of the like and you take like the gutters and then you also have the windows, and so I think it's really important to have like the diverse. It's wise, and it's a huge blessing too.
Yeah, running an exterior cleaning business, you have to have a variety of services.
Yep.
So I have times of the year that are busier
Yep.
than other. Like during December, I do Christmas lights installation,
Yep.
like through October all the way leading to the end of beginning of December.
Yep.
Christmas lights installations and rain gutter cleaning repair.
Yep.
And then comes through spring is that switch between rain gutter cleaning and window cleaning, and they start doing a little bit of pressure washing and the window cleaning, solar panel cleaning picks up, and it's a transaction between those services that works really well for exterior cleaning.
Yep.
In San Diego, we don't have snow, we don't have crazy weather.
Right.
It's a very blessed place to live.
Yeah, truly.
Sense of weather-wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, so that's a pretty crazy story, Igor. So you're at this point. So you come from Brazil. You meet your wife in Australia, and you guys get married in Australia. You get baptized and married in the same day in Australia, and then you come to America trying to do the job that you worked so hard. You got burned out in Brazil doing. Documents won't come, whether it be the company, whether it be the school, whether it be the country, Brazil, all those things. That's just not happening. And then you come here, and then you get the opportunity. You're working a number of odd jobs, doing whatever it takes to provide and to take care of your family, and then you get the opportunity with coming in, and now you have this, and then you have the opportunity for this business. And now here you are, expecting on the eve of expecting you guys a second child, which is what a blessing. And oh my goodness.
I can hope for.
Yeah, truly. And then you're.
And now we're planning. My parents, I say, like, we're trying to plan the third wedding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. But let the second child come. Super happy when we decided to have the second one already. It was, are we ready for this?
Yep.
And the kids are on the terrible shoes. They're like trying to be a little bit mischievous here, and it's like we are so tired, but at the same time we cannot stop.
Right.
So yeah, the parenthood is exciting. I love it. It's just the beginning of it.
Yeah, truly.
And
what about so what do you do now for your as far as like your fitness and training? What does that look like?
So I surf. I try to surf as much as I can. But then jiu-jitsu too, actually, coming back to jiu-jitsu.
Okay. Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Back to your roots.
Yeah. I didn't train. I started training here in US. Yeah. And I'd go to, I've been some gyms in Brazil, like go for one class to the other ones. Like friends would take me to classes. And I always liked, but it was not my priority. My priority was work, and I worked a lot down there. I started training here when my gym burned down. I took a gym hand, they burned out, and they moved, and now I'm waiting for them to come back.
Okay.
So because I have also I scheduled that like working schedule, and I'm trying to fit all this and be a dad and working, and getting ready to start hiring. As of now, I'm a solo.
Yep.
I do everything on my business.
Yep.
I do from marketing to send paperwork.
You gotta, yeah.
That's what you gotta do sometimes to build a business.
That's right.
But now I'm getting ready to hire someone, so I'm a little bit more free.
Okay.
And that's the important part is hire someone that has the same work ethics that you have.
Yep.
So that way you don't leave like your clients in bad hands as someone that's gonna come and destroy what you built up, your reputation, right?
Truly.
When I start like to get those Google star reviews, to
Got
get
it.
those Yelp reviews. That's so
Five
hard.
stars. Yeah.
When you start like from nothing, today I have enough reviews, so would bring me more work, and that way I can provide work for someone. And also the opportunity to have someone that you can mentor in my life.
Right.
They're starting, they want to open their company. Sometimes you can teach them stuff like that too.
Yep.
I found a mentor that his business is the same business as mine,
Yep.
and it's been great. I've been learning a lot.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, fitness wise is important. It's like I'm working out, like trying to lift some weights and here and there to keep my strength, keep
Yep.
my shoulders with not hurting. Trying to, you start getting older, you start trying to not get injured as much.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Fighting off the
yeah,
injuries.
working out is gonna be a priority from now on.
Yeah. Training hard. Yeah. That's yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily training hard, but trying to be more consistent to it.
Yeah.
I think
truly.
that's the challenge. Like, you tell me, you're the fitness guru here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't like the term guru.
Well,
But, yeah.
what's necessary to build up consistency on a workout? Someone that having a hard time to, but should someone stick to? Like,
Being consistent. Yeah. So the name of the game, if you can get consistent with your fitness routine, is that's if you can get consistent with it and you have something that works, it keeps you to not get hurt. That's kind of like the magic sauce, so to speak. So if you can train 3 to 5 days a week, so resistance training definitely needs to be incorporated in your program at some point, where like lifting weights, body weight, things like this, things where you are going against your resisting force to form an adaptation for your muscles to get stronger. A good way to think about it is like your muscles are your shock absorbers for your joints. That's a great analogy I like to use with my clients. And we don't want to wear those shock absorbers out so they're really thin, but we want them to be to the point. We don't want them to be like so big where they're gonna explode. That's just kind of like a fun analogy I like to use. So being consistent is finding whatever form of activity you're going to enjoy. So whether it's like, if you like kettlebells, if you like dumbbells, if you like barbell, if you pick something that you think is fun. I always say starting out with like 3 sets of 10. 3 sets of 10 is like that's a good intro. However, being consistent, coming down to with all the other things that you have going on in your life, with your business, with your wife, with your child, soon to be children, you with your children, you need to find the times. Getting it out of the way first thing is going to be the best. So like early in the morning, because that time is going to be more your own. That's a little bit tougher once you throw a second kid into the mix. It really makes things hard. Finding something where you can like move some sort of weights for 20 minutes a day, 20 to 30 minutes a day. You get in there, you move around, you feel good about yourself, you get out, and then you can go. And just like with everything, there's different seasons of life for training. So you're not gonna be able to go to the gym for an hour right now. That's just like going for an hour or for an hour and a half right now. It's just not in the cards for you unless you sacrifice your wife and your children's happiness. So, but anyway, I think finding 20, 30-minute workouts, something you enjoy, and expecting the fact that it's going to be tough with the season of life you're in. But, yeah. But anyway, thanks so much for coming on today, Igor. It's been great having you.
You got it.